Um,
I'm
even
sorry.
yeah, yeah,
You're
you got to get
already
that.
doing awesome stuff. So go ahead.
Well, I guess that the thing is that in preparation for this and trying to answer those questions, I really had no problem answering them. I hope they're not superficial in any way, but I'm sure you won't let them be because you have a nasty habit of asking questions on top of stuff that, on top of answers people give if they're too superficial. But the thing is, if somebody does blueprint properly, and I think the only way that they'll do it properly is if they use a blueprint practitioner to help them with that, because we've all been through it with the best. And the thing is, we all have different styles in doing it. So, I think if you're shopping somebody in Blueprint, you're shopping somebody on the basis of style more than you are content, because the content is pretty much consistent across the board. Everybody gets what you're supposed to do as you go through that process. But the at the end of the day, once you've gone through it, you don't have to mentally go through the thought process again. You may go through some of the territory again to make sure that you're fine tuning different areas, but you don't have to revamp. It's not like you toss the whole thing out and start all over from scratch. I don't know anybody that's done that. They're going to build on what they've done. And if you're really into the greater power of what's behind some of this stuff, you're going to realize that greater power, you have to kind of trust that it knows what it's doing with you.
Nice.
So, and quite frankly, what it does with us, I think, is it doesn't give us what we can't handle.
Nice.
So if you're re-examining this down the road, you're re-examining it because you're a different person, or I should say, you're the person you're supposed to be, and you just maybe have to go a little bit further with it. So as far as preparing for this dialogue we're going to have or we're having, I didn't really, I didn't have to mull it over like I do everything else. At least I don't think I did. I just hope it's deep enough that people that need this understand this really is the final stop. I mean, there's probably other very good people out there that do different things to help you get where you need to go, but you're not going to find a roadmap any clearer than this one
And what makes you say that?
because I've experienced it and I've experienced a lot of other programs. I've experienced a lot of coaching programs, some by some really professional and good people. Now, you could probably make the argument that, well, like you said earlier, God's not going to give you any more than you can handle. So it could be that those people were the right teachers for me at the time. And I think that they were. But the thing that attracted me most to this, I think, more than anything else, was that this process is so much consistent. The consistency in it is so much greater than what I've experienced with other ones, where they either take you down one uh, rabbit hole to down a different rabbit hole. Maybe the process is convoluted in some sort of way, or you got to go through a lot of different things. At least when I hit this one, it was pretty straightforward stuff. You kind of examine where you are in your head with respect to the questions that are asked that usually go back to, okay, so what do you think you do well? What do people tell you do well? What do you find you like doing? you know, which I guess is where you really should start, because for the most part, people stop doing things they like doing because they think they can make more money doing it some other way, and then they find out that that's the big deception right there. So
That's one of the things I really appreciate about you when you're working with someone, when you're acting as a practitioner for someone, is you help them think about their thinking and really get to the core of why they're doing something or why they want to do something. And I know
yeah,
you've got some stories about that.
well, I guess that at the end of the day, the real story. Obviously, I have stories about other people that have gone through some of this with me or stuff like this with me in the past. But I can honestly say that the mistakes are pretty much all mine that I've made, and most of the mistakes usually arrived or came around the fact that I was attracted to something too quickly. and
Mm.
I didn't do the background on it, and I
Oh.
didn't test it. I didn't run it through some trials. You know, I think that anybody can do this thing. They can get into it inside of a week. They'll know whether it's right for them or not. And I'm not talking about a week's worth of meetings. I'm talking about working with it for a week, which I think is pretty much up to almost anybody's temperament. And at the same time, like I was telling you about the vitamins and stuff like that. I mean, nobody ever asks, "What's the research that backs the claim you're making?" Or, you know, um, where's it manufactured? What kind of testing do you do to make sure there's no heavy metal and stuff like that in it? And they look at you like you got nine heads on your shoulder or something. I mean, going into a health food store and ask the clerk behind the counter. Occasionally, you'll run into somebody who really knows what they're doing. They belong there. They might have accidentally hit their blueprint. I think what we're trying to do is help people make it more get through it more intentionally.
Hmm. And what do you mean? How does that connect with the research you were talking about and asking them
Well,
questions?
I think because again, it makes you do the research. You have to really sit down and think about stuff. Now, the good news is you're not doing this alone. There's a guide that takes you through it, and that guide's not going to just accept your first answer ever. They're going to question it. They're going to test it. They're going to play with it. And I mean, like I said, intentional piece of it is okay. What do I want out of this? I'm confused. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know where I should be. What's my purpose? Why am I here? All these things that go through people's minds, and they never ever get the answer to those questions. Well, this is one of the ways you can get an answer to that question. And if you're watching something like this, you're clearly doing the research.
Good point.
So, and that's where it starts. And if something doesn't feel right to you, then your inner CEO is probably trying to give you a message.
Nice. Inner CEO, explain that.
Well, it's a concept I'd heard about years ago and some other professional development stuff where there's a thought process that each one of us is, some people will call it your higher self, some people will call it your guardian angel, the Holy Spirit. Yeah, there's all kinds of names for it, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's that thing that intends all the best for you out there, has no other agenda than the best for you. And uh, it will, when you meet somebody else, Jerry, when you've met people that you didn't quite think were your cup of tea, that's where your inner CEO is having an argument with theirs.
I like that.
So again, I can't think of the exact place I heard it from. I mean, anybody that's here in this particular talk is going to probably recall somewhere they heard that before. That there's an intuitiveness. This party there's your soul guardian, whatever it is. It's someone that makes sure that your intuition. It's someone that makes sure that you don't make a critical error. The critical error, and a lot of times because we get so caught up in the glitz and glamour, the shiny, the neat shiny object, or you hear the right words. This can make you. This isn't going to make you anything. Matter of fact, it might actually upset you because if you go through it and you hear this is my purpose. I mean, the first notion is that most people have is, well, that's not impressive.
Mm.
And you know, and what are they gauging that? Who's telling them that? What do you mean it's not impressive? If you do something really well, I don't care whether it's fixing toilets or whether it's doing neurosurgery. It doesn't really matter. If you're doing it really well and you enjoy doing it and you get lost in doing it,
Mm.
there's a strong possibility that that's what you're supposed to be doing. And again, okay, so maybe you're not going to make a whole bunch of money doing what you hear is your purpose, but I think you're probably using the wrong argument.
Mm.
I mean, so what do you need all the money for? I mean, look, I'm as much a capitalist as anybody else, but I've found that if you just simply do what you're supposed to be doing, things get taken care of. Maybe not as glamorously as you'd like, but I think maybe that requires a perspective tune up because I've enjoyed going to the shore as much, if not more, than going to Hawaii.
Mm.
And Hawaii's a beautiful place, but so's Avalon.
Mhm.
And I've been there and enjoyed that more than anything. And if I can do it with my family, that's even better because now you're with people you care about. So,
When you say a perspective tune-up,
yeah,
how
well,
how do
but,
you do that for your people?
uh, questions. I just assume that what they're telling me is the truth, and then I just keep going at it until they see it's not, or we both realize it is. That's it.
So,
I mean, I just don't know any other way to tune up a perspective because, again, usually I can tell you can tell yourself you need a perspective tune up if everything sucks.
mm,
I mean, and you know when that is. Sometimes it could be because some stuff's not going for you all that well right now. In which case, well, let's go back in history. Was it always this way? Did everything always suck? When was it good? Well, it was never good. Well, you sure?
that's what I appreciate about your what did you call it? Something inquiry. You have this beautiful phrase, appreciative
Appreciative
inquiry.
inquiry, and it's not my phrase. It is actually a process that's used by people that are helping others get to things that are really important to them. You do it all the time.
Mhm.
I've just given it a name. That's all. I should say I'm labeling it with what I understand it to be, but it's nothing. And there's books on it. You can read books on how to do appreciative inquiry. I spent close to, you see, from 2007 till about 2015 doing that professionally. And now I do it intuitively.
Explain the difference.
Well, professionally is when you're intentionally doing something you're not comfortable with until you are.
Okay.
And if it wasn't what I should be doing, I would have stopped doing it a long time ago.
So now that it's morphed into an intentional doing, what would you say is the difference there?
What between intentional and professional? Well,
Hmm.
intentional, uh, the mask never comes off.
Oh,
Mainly because the mask never was on.
nice. Okay.
I mean, professionally, fake it till you make it. You've heard
Hmm.
the term, right?
Yep.
Well, there's some credibility. There's some, yeah, that's a viable strategy. But you might get to a point where I'm tired of faking this. This is not me. I'm not doing it anymore. So that's faking it till you make it. But I think you can use it from time to time to get on the glide path
Mm.
and then sit back and enjoy the ride or get off the bus.
And I like how you were talking about using appreciative inquiry to do the research that's necessary for Blueprint and something that somebody finds a good thing or a bad thing. You're able to uncover the truth or the core that they need to understand regardless of the circumstance.
Well, right, and they have to understand it on their own terms, and that's the main thing. Is you've got to have respect for somebody else's opinion because their opinion counts. And now they may not be thinking through the opinion all the way.
Mm.
People do that all the time, and as a matter of fact, you can actually use that um, to stop an argument.
Tell us more.
Well, in a respectful way, you say, I disagree with you, but then I have a different perspective on the thing. I'd like to appreciate yours more.
Mhm.
How did you arrive at the opinion that you have? And then you just keep following that. that tact. And you do it long enough, if somebody's on shaky ground, they're going to stop you pretty quick because they can't go very far.
Hmm.
Or they're going to arrive at a different destination and say, geez, I never really thought about it that way.
Hmm. So through appreciative inquiry, you're helping people reveal themselves to themselves.
Right. As best as they can. And
Hmm.
you can't do that if you approach it anyway with judgment, which is something, as you know, you don't do.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us more about that. How do you do that when you're listening to someone and you're doing appreciative inquiry and you're helping them walk through their own thinking about something?
Uh-huh.
How are you able to set down judgment?
Just stay curious about why they've arrived at the decision they have,
Interesting.
as opposed to contrasting and comparing it to what you believe is a value. People pick up on that real quick and they'll shut down on you in a second.
Yeah. That's powerful, what you just said, to be able to set down your own certainty or your own opinion,
Right.
maintaining curiosity. It's
Right.
powerful.
And I don't mean invasive curiosity. I mean, there's points when people can be what appear to be overly curious, and then somebody feels like they're being interrogated by a prosecutor. That's not what I'm talking about. It's more or less in a fun sort of way. Help them help you understand them.
Mm. And why are you so genuinely interested in people?
Well, because they're all different,
Hmm.
and uh, now there are some I'm not interested in, but I would say even the ones I'm not interested in, that's only because I eventually get to a destination that they take me that I don't really want to go any further on the ride, so I get off.
Yeah.
But I mean, one thing that I would say with most people is that if you react in a way that suggests that you're making a judgment on what they're saying, that's where the conversation is going to stop. Now, there's a series of books out by the folks that did Crucial Conversations. They have Crucial Confrontation. They have a whole bunch of different ones, and I read pretty much all of them, and they were very helpful in helping me develop my approach to working with things. But they all had one thing in common, and that is that dialogue will only continue as long as you're in the common pool. The second you get out of the common pool of expectation, you're disrupting the water. People don't like to swim with people that splash
Huh.
unless they're splashing.
Explain that common pool.
It's a pool that people can go into where they're all comfortable there,
Okay.
and it's a common pool of understanding essentially, where the only way that you can be there is to be open to somebody else and their opinion. It, they're not going to be comfortable if you don't, and that's what shuts most dialogue down, is when people get uncomfortable with folks.
Hmm. Like you said, if someone's splashing, and the idea is that nobody's splashing.
No, unless everybody's splashing,
Right.
then it's fun and you're all going to do it.
The rules have changed.
Right, right. But the common, I thought it was called the common pool of understanding, but that was basically it. You want to get at a level where everybody is on the same page. Sometimes it's simply repeating back to somebody in your own words what you think you heard them say.
Hmm. What would you say is the common pool when you're working with a client through Blueprint? How would you describe it?
Well, again that I'm not usually, when I'm working with somebody, I'm not working with them in a way that's confrontational or that's combative. The common pool of understanding, as I understand how that concept worked, was when there was a conflict between two people. You
Hmm.
wanted to get
I
them
see.
talking to each other. You had to get them at a level where they could at least put judgment on the side and at least allow you make things safe for people.
Hmm.
It's safe to say what you're going to say, and I'm not going to jump down your throat when you say it,
Got
which
it.
has been lost today.
Yeah. That the decisiveness, the argumentativeness, or
I'm right and
as
you're wrong.
yeah.
I mean,
And
who was it? Dwayne Dyer once said, and probably my Wayne Dyer, one of my heroes, and the guy that mentored me by proxy for many, many years as I drove back and forth from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, said that if you have a choice between being right and being kind, choose kindness. Always choose
Lovely.
kindness.
That's lovely.
That doesn't mean you have to make yourself wrong.
Right.
Being kind is not being weak. Matter of fact, you have to be pretty strong to be kind sometimes.
Absolutely. So, what would you say when you're working with a client and as you talked about, you're setting down your own certainty, your own opinions, you have no judgment, no agenda, you're just following that thread of curiosity.
Well,
What?
usually when I engage with somebody for on a coaching uh, arrangement, and I've always done this. This is not something new, but it's basically the way I do it. Is that we have a meeting where we have an expectations conversation, and that was taught to me by my friends at Heritage through what the hell's his name? It'll come to me eventually. Like I said, I've been coached by so many people. I'm probably one of the most overcoached people you'll ever meet. But that's just where that's how that works.
So, the expectations conversation that you start with,
Right. What do you have a right to expect? What do you think I have a right to expect of you? What do you have a right to expect of me?
and what does that do for you, having
It
that
doesn't.
conversation?
Well, it puts us on the same wavelength. We can establish what the engagement rules are.
And what are your favorite goals, would you say, when you're working with someone through Blueprint? What is your hope for them?
That they won't need me at some point in time.
Interesting. Tell us more about that.
Well, coaching is kind of like chiropractic. you know, they want you to go every week, $75 a pop, and there's nothing wrong with that because that's the way their program works. But in coaching, you don't want to create dependency,
Hmm.
which is very easy to do if you're any good at it. There's a natural tendency for people to see you as a charismatic individual, and consequently, you can do no wrong. Well, we're human beings; we do wrong stuff all the time.
Hmm.
I mean, I say stupid things all the time. Try not to say them too often, but I do, and um, and that's why it's important that you get that groundwork at least established at the beginning, so that. And I usually do it in a way that, and I summarize it and send it to them, and we both sign it.
Hmm.
Now, it may sound a little bit overly formalized, a little bit overly litigious, but the point is that I want the acknowledgement. People generally won't sign something they haven't read.
Fair. Yeah.
And I always say, and by the way, sometimes I'll write it in pencil if you want. I mean,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, if we run into conflict over something we agreed wasn't going to be, then we'll reassess the agreement again.
Nice. But your goal is to create self-sufficiency or
Right,
to, yeah,
right. Did not need me,
help them
or to
understand.
move to the next level and need somebody else who has greater skills in a particular area that you need specifically to get where you want to go.
Sure. Sure. And what's the joy for you in helping someone understand their own self-sufficiency?
Well, you see them change. You see them become successful at what they're trying to do. You see them achieve something. That's, that to me is the proof of the pudding.
Hmm. Lovely. Is there anything else that you'd like to share by way of helping people understand why the process is important to you and why you love giving it?
Well, I guess you're just taking my word for it, so do the research. But if you do research too intensely, you're going to spend a lot of money, which I've done. I mean, I think the most expensive guy I worked with was around $9,000 for like 3 months or something. So, I mean, this stuff can get really pricey, and it doesn't have to. This is a very, very inexpensive process from the standpoint of we charge for our time. We don't charge for coaching,
Nice.
and our time I think is very reasonable. I mean, when was the last time you changed your model?
Me personally,
Yeah,
in terms of pricing,
yeah,
oh my gosh, it's been forever.
yeah. and and there's ways to assess what the pricing needs to be for somebody that wants to set themselves up and do something like this. There's actually a couple of really good books on the topic of price setting, but it doesn't have to be a whole lot. I mean, you just need a little bit more than what you're going to spend to do what you're going to do, and that's pretty much it. I think part of the pay comes back from the fact that you're never out of work because there's always people that want to use you for whatever they're trying to accomplish. And if they can't use you, then they'll usually, if they've experienced it properly, they will definitely pass your name on to others.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. To me, the greatest investment for a person coming into the blueprint process is their time, their commitment, which is
Yep.
exactly why you have them sign your expectation agreement.
Right. Well, just to get some kind of a sense of what we can expect of each other as we do as we go through this journey together, because that's basically what it ends up being. It's kind of like you start out here and then you end up down here
Yeah.
over
Yep.
here, and sometimes people only need a little bit of clarity, but like I said, that's the thing I liked about Blueprint was it really kind of explores all the different avenues of where your talents and skills and values and all the different things that constitute who you are and why you are in that document. And it's not that you necessarily go through all of them. I think we skipped a few things when we were doing it because there's stuff that can be redundant, and there's really no reason to go through something just because it's in the plan. It's the result at the end that you want, not necessarily the process to get there. But this process is a lot less painless, or I should say, a lot less painful than other things I've done in the past, particularly in the pocketbook.
That's as it should be. Because as you're talking about, when someone comes face to face through your work with who they are and the value that they're meant to give to the world,
Right,
that's that's a significant enough ask that we don't need to stick them with a high price tag
right,
because
right.
it fills them with such a sense of responsibility that they can't get away from it. Well, thank you, dude. I appreciate your time sharing with us.
Any questions more that you need to ask?
Any questions that I need to ask of you?
Yeah,
I feel like we covered it. This won't be in the recording. Why were you attracted to the blueprint process in the first place?
yeah,
What are the results that you're experiencing from going through the process? Why were you attracted to being a practitioner? And what are the results you'd like your people to experience?
right.
Anything from that?
Let me see. Well, I wrote down something that came to me pretty quick. It was like, what affects the blueprint process you're excited to see in your clients? When the light of day appears and others suddenly get and apply its findings in their lives for the benefit of themselves and the people, organizations, and causes they care about benefit.
Hmm. Nice. Can you
So,
explain that a little bit? Yeah, go ahead.
well, again, I mean, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're hitting all the right organizations and you got your family and you got your friends and people that you can be directly impactful on. And I'm not talking necessarily about coaching, just simply being who you're supposed to be.
Mm,
It's when we try to be something we're not that problems come up.
amen. Anything else?
Nah, that's pretty much it.
You're a dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being the guinea pig on this.
Hey, no problem. I'm good at guinea pigging.
I'm just going to stop the recording.